Hi everyone. It's kind of crazy when you think that it's been 11 months since I released the second video in this series. Honestly, I thought I was gonna wrap up this series of videos in 2 months, but COVID-19 had other plans. Unlike other YouTubers, I do not do this for a living. This is just a hobby. I have no corporate sponsors or advertisers. So usually I use my own money to make these videos possible, but I do it for fun and because I like to impart knowledge. So without further delay, let's jump into part 3. In part 2, I did a detailed description of the power supply upgrade, and now we're going to focus on the case. Now, I've seen quite a few mods of the G5 case by other YouTubers, and many of them are impressive. However, as I highlighted in part 1, the idea here is to focus on matching the performance of an entry-level Mac Pro. Unlike what I did in my PowerMac G4 video, I'm actually using an upgrade kit from a UK-based company called the Laser Hive. Check out the link in the description below. The precision cut parts should make this mod relatively easy compared with trying to measure and machine everything yourself. As I mentioned in my first video, there are 2 versions of the PowerMac G5 tower, and for each type of tower there are 2 kits available. One for a micro ATX motherboard or smaller, and the other for a full-size ATX motherboard or a mini ATX. I decided on using a micro ATX motherboard for 2 reasons. One, it would mean making minimal modifications to the tower, thus saving me time and money. And 2, most micro ATX motherboards have everything you would need as far as slots, connectors, headers, and so on. So there was no real need to go through the hassle of getting a full-size ATX motherboard. Not only do I strongly recommend that you use one of the kits from the Laser Hive, I also recommend that you read the instructions carefully and understand what tools you will need. Although the micro ATX kit requires less cutting, it does require some cutting, so you will definitely need a Dremel or a similar cutting tool, with a wheel designed specifically for cutting metal. In fact, you will require at least 3 or 4 cutting wheels, depending on how much cutting you plan on doing. If you don't have a Dremel or a similar tool, then I suggest to at least mark out the areas that need cutting and have someone else do the cutting. But keep a large metal file handy, as you will have to make small adjustments and remove sharp edges. And as I mentioned in part 1, don't forget your safety gear, please. Although it's optional, I decided to order the front panel from the Laser Hive. The existing front panel can be used, but the USB is only 2.0 and there is only a headphone jack. I wanted USB 3.0 plus the option to use both headphone and microphone jacks. This part is really simple. I just remove the existing hardware and then use a step bit to punch 2 circles at the top before using the Dremel to finish up the straight lines. The Laser Hive kit includes all the templates you need to mark the case for the front panel, but you have to get your own Sharpie. Having cut the space for the front panel, I did a test fit and then used my Dremel's grinding tip to fine-tune and remove sharp edges. After doing another test fit, it was now time to move to the back of the tower. Now, this point cannot be overemphasized. Please follow the Laser Hive instructions very carefully, otherwise you will mess up the cutting of the case. This is where OCD comes in very handy. See how many times I'm measuring this and double checking? The good thing about this kit is that it uses existing holes on the tower to secure the new rear panel in place. That way you can line it up, check, double check, mark, and then cut. Although I didn't want to, I had to remove the drive cage and the fans in the top of the tower in order to secure the screws. This step is unavoidable, so please watch that teardown video that I referenced in part 1 so that you can know the proper way to disassemble this tower. In my case, no pun intended, I found it helpful to remove most of the motherboard standoffs in order to mount the included acrylic motherboard tray. After that came what I consider the most complex part of this mod. You see, the ports at the back of the motherboard don't go all the way to the back of the case. They are slightly recessed. The Laser Hive kit has a special set of instructions for compensating for that recessed position. Please follow the instructions carefully so that everything is lined up. When I reached that part of the mod, I could not find one of the items that was crucial to measuring and cutting the flange that the spacer would be mounted on. I did reach out to the Laser Hive via email, but I got no response, so I had to measure everything from scratch while holding certain parts in place before doing my cuts. After doing the cuts, I found a missing piece in the box. I swear, I had searched that box like 10 times and I could not find it. And then, voila, it appears. To add insult to injury, the laser hive had in fact responded and the message was sitting in my junk folder. Whew. So with the cuts completed, I mounted the spacer and put the motherboard in for a test fit. With everything lining up to my satisfaction, it was now time to do my mystery holes. More about those holes later on. If you'd like to help me bring you more interesting videos, subscribe to this channel. I do have a few giveaways going on and you can find a list of those on my website. Check out the description below. In order to win a prize though, you're usually required to purchase one of my books or one of my songs. One of the items I'm giving away is a laser hive kit for the PowerMac G5 case that has the 120mm fan. Click the link in the description below to find out more about the giveaway. Part 4 of this series will be out very soon, so stay tuned.